This week on The Irish Gardener, how to deal with slugs and snails in your garden. It's summertime, which means our gardens are full of life at the moment. Pots full of bedding plants such as this, and the lobelia and the yellow bidens there in full flower. And then our perennials such as the lupin and the foxglove in full bloom also, or maybe like this alstroemeria, soon to be in full bloom. And there's more than just colour in the garden, it's also the bees are flocking to the bidens here, we've birdsong going on, there's ladybirds and butterflies. It's really a magical time to be out in the garden during the summer. But with that, of course, comes slugs and snails. So how do we deal with them? Well, there are plenty of barrier products that we can use, both homemade or shop bought. Just by crushing up some broken eggshells at home and placing them around the base of your plant, creating a barrier. The slugs and snails can't get over that, so you're protecting your plants that way. Grounds from your old coffee will also work in the same way. They'll also act as a barrier and deter the slugs and snails from attacking your plants. And by using barrier products like that, or there's wool pellets also available in your garden centre, you're leaving a healthy supply of the slugs and snails, which is a food source for their natural predators, which are the birds and the larger birds and hedgehogs. Now, if you did want to kill the slugs and snails, I would urge you, please, just take 1 second, and when you're picking up the slug pellets, make sure that the active ingredient isn't a thing called methaldehyde. If you care enough, tell the shop that you're leaving it behind you and why you're leaving it behind you. And why you're doing that is because methaldehyde, not just being toxic to slugs and snails, it's also toxic to those natural predators, the birds and the hedgehogs. Methaldehyde is also toxic to our domestic pets and to us humans. I'm glad to say it's banned in many countries now. It's soon to be banned in the UK. However, of course, still freely available in Ireland. But the good news is, if you take that 1 second and look for a slug pellet containing ferric phosphate, that's just as effective against slugs and snails, but totally harmless to surrounding wildlife. You have a look at it, look just like any other slug pellet, and you use it as you would any other slug pellet. Just scatter it around vulnerable plants, and it will kill the slugs and snails, but safe to use, safe for our domestic pets, safe to have around our children. You can also use beer traps. This is a beer trap. You can get one in your local garden centre or DIY store, or you can make your own. What you do is you fill it with beer up to this level. That's your lid, if you like, and you put it into the soil so that the soil comes up to this level. The slugs and snails are attracted to the beer and they fall in. I'm sure a happy death. I'm sorry for laughing at the poor slugs. You can also make your own using an old yogurt container. You know, the larger yogurt containers with the lid, not the very small ones. Again, just cut a few holes around the top of it, bring the soil up to here. The slugs and snails will go in through the holes and in they'll go, and they'll drown in the beer, and you empty that a couple of times a week. Summertime in the garden is all about growing plants in pots and containers and moving them around the patio. And if you look at this alstroemeria here, if I'm to cover that pot or put a layer of copper tape, a strip of copper tape around it, that will also stop the slugs and snails from getting at my alstroemeria. It doesn't matter, of course, what you're growing in the pot. It could be an ornamental plant like this, or it could be edibles. It's also true in a raised bed. If you just cover it all with the copper tape, or even a bit of copper pipe around a raised bed, then you're ensuring that the plant is going to be damage free all summer long. Because what happens is, you know, that saliva type secretion that the slug exudes as it's moving, well, that reacts with the copper. He gets a little mini electric shock, which appeals to me. I don't know what that says about me, but he can't get over, or she can't get over the copper tape to get at my alstroemeria. A totally chemical free way of dealing with slugs and snails in the garden. Don't forget to stay following The Irish Gardener on social media for more gardening hints and tips every week.